Achieving greatness with yourself requires balance. Balance in your personal life, balance in what you eat, balance in rest and relaxation, in work versus play, and emotional control. A life out of balance produces no greatness.
I can't look back, it's too late now. My days are hours and I don't know how. But I believe the great is still yet to come. I won't stop fighting, man, until I'm done.
Good morning. Welcome to the 37th Breakfast Ball. Today's is Trial by Fire, so we're having Trial by Fire today. I am your host, Bob Cardia. To my far left, your far right, the dashing Richie Stoltz. And in the middle today, okay, the unicorn, Annabelle McGowan. Annabelle is the pride of Kingsway High School golf, Millersville University golf, and the pride of the South Jersey golf schools. So good morning, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, as usual, I went out of order today because I'm looking. I never follow my own script. Yes. First of all, remember, okay, if you get anything out of this podcast, right, and you become rich and famous, what happens?
10%.
10%.
We get
Always.
Annabelle.
I know it. I've known it.
Annabelle knows that forever. Yes,
years.
yes. And then another congratulations to Jeremy. You know, it's the same half dozen people keep winning the Starbucks gift card, but God bless them. You know, at least they were the core following group, I guess.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Good,
Spread the word. Spread the word. Subscribe, by the way. If you like what we're doing, please, by all means, subscribe. We're growing. We were just discussing this with Annabelle. We're growing each week, so we would love to spread the word on getting mentally tough in sports psychology and golf. But anyway, yeah. Today, our first quote of the day, and as I told Richie and Annabelle, I hate wearing cheaters, but like I'm doing it for today. So again, I think I told you I've been reading a lot with Dr. James Lohr lately. His book is, just make sure I get the title correct, is Mental Toughness in Training in Sports. So in the spirit of the Olympics, because I'm wearing my Olympic shirt today, right?
Love it. Looks good. Looks good.
But I think America's actually going to win the medal count by a ton.
Yeah.
And the gold count too, which I absolutely love. Despite the opening ceremonies, I think everything else went pretty well.
Very true.
Yes.
Very true.
Exactly. All right. Anyway, so this quote is it refers back to Mary Lou Retton, who was like the Simone Biles of the 1980s. Achieving greatness with yourself requires balance. Balance in your personal life, balance in what you eat, balance in rest and relaxation, in work versus play, and emotional control. A life out of balance produces no greatness. So Lohr said this, and I agree with this. When you have the right focus, when what you're thinking is the same as what you're doing, which it's a very simple concept, but I happen to love it. So I know I do little things that try to help me stay focused, and I've actually adopted a new one lately. But you guys are not playing way more competitive golf than Coach Bob now does. So I was going to pick your brain as to, is there anything that you guys do? I guess we'll start with the dashing Richie Stoltz. Is there anything that you guys do to promote focus and toughness during a round of golf?
Well, there's something I do outside of golf that helps me focus.
Okay.
Do you remember what that is?
Oh, I know what it is.
Annabelle, would you like to tell the crowd, or you want me to tell the crowd?
I mean, if you want me to.
All right, here. How
Okay.
about this?
Yeah.
We'll go with this. Me and Annabelle.
You guys aren't going to sing, right?
No.
We might.
Although I do sing on the golf course when I'm playing
okay.
tournaments.
Yes.
I do hum and sing a lot.
That's
not gonna
Really?
lie.
That's
Yes,
typically
that is
when I drive
something
away.
that
Those
Yes.
things.
I am usually the last song that I play before the round of golf is a song that I want to,
Oh.
keep in my head
Your
throughout the round.
competitors must love that, right?
Oh, not loudly.
Okay.
Like when I'm stepping up to a golf
Okay,
ball,
good.
I might be humming
Standing on
a
the
little
green,
song.
singing
Just a
"The
little
Greatest Love
something.
of All" by Whitney Houston.
I say the presidents in my head to focus my
The
thoughts.
presidents.
Yeah. So I don't
Like-
think about
like
my
all
swing
of them?
thoughts. All of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get all.
It helps.
I don't
though.
know all of them.
You know what? I would say I do know all of them, but I don't think I could recite them all. You do in order, I'm assuming, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
Washington, Adams, Jefferson, with the backswing.
Wow.
It helps though, so
Wow.
you're not like
I
arms
love-
straight.
Interesting.
So it helps.
Wow.
But anyway, what is
Anyway,
your?
Okay.
so I do this thing where I Annabelle laughs at me, and I made
do.
Annabelle
We
do
all
this.
laugh at you. But actually, we're laughing with you, not at you.
Yeah.
I made Annabelle do this because she told me she was struggling with focus.
Mhm.
So, and we talked about it many podcasts ago too, but I pick a point on the wall
Oh, yeah.
and I stare at that point. And what I'll do is I'll take my phone, I'll flip it upside down,
Mhm.
and I'll start a timer. And I got to do it for like 5 minutes. So you flip the phone upside down and you stare at that point on the wall for 5 minutes. And you don't know when 5 minutes are up. So you
Right.
have to focus
Right.
for 5 minutes, not knowing when you're done. And
Yep.
then typically what happens is you flip the phone back over when you think 5 minutes is up, and the phone says 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, probably like 30 seconds.
Mine was 2 minutes the
Yeah.
first time. I'm like, it felt like 5 minutes.
Yep. And then
Uh-huh.
you do it again, and you flip it back over, and you have to sit there, and you have to focus on that point on the wall for 5 minutes. And you got to do it until you hit 5 minutes.
So you have 5
Yeah.
And the
minutes.
tough part is you will constantly have distractions going off everywhere.
Mhm.
You know, you can't do it somewhere just dead quiet, because then it's just,
It's easy.
you got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
imagine having a TV on, or maybe your kids are here, and, you know, Darby yells something to the dog, and, you know, next thing you know, your mind starts going elsewhere, and then what you got to do is, once that mind goes elsewhere, you go, point on the wall.
Yeah.
And you stare at that point on the wall again. And if someone watches you do it, they probably think you're a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
But it'll help you focus for an extended period of time.
You know, it's funny, because you've told me that story before, is focus. Like you just mentioned Darby and the dog. Darby being my daughter and the dog being my dog. But the second you said
No
Darby
idea.
and my dog, I got home from work last night, right? So actually, I stopped by the police station. I got rear-ended on.
I heard.
Yeah, I know, right?
I
Totaled
know.
my car, the whole 9
Hot
yards.
commodity right
Darby
now.
and I were in the car. So I on the way home, I stopped and picked up the police report, and
Yeah.
and I got home, and the dog wasn't here. And I'm like,
Oh, no.
well, I'm here by myself, like so. So I went next door and asked my mom's nurse. I said, "Have you seen the dog?" And she, "No, one of your kids was here and took him." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, so who's the only person who would do that? Would probably be Colton.
Mm-hmm.
And I called Colton. He said, "Who, me?" So the dog was back when I got up this morning, but I'm not sure how the dog
took the
left and
dog?
came back. I don't know. But my whole point being is I was paying complete attention to what you were saying, and then you said something like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Darby and the dog," and like while you were talking for the first 30 seconds, thinking, what happened to my dog? And like that is lack of focus on me.
Yeah.
It sounds like someone has stared
But
at
I
you.
had
Yeah.
I had a lesson, you know, it was in between my seasons with
Mhm.
Richie. We were in the indoor simulator.
Mhm.
And, you know, I told him, like, when I'm on the course, I'm having such a hard time of staying in the moment and having that focus.
Yep.
And he told me about the 5 minutes, and he's like, okay, he's like, when you go home, you know, I want you to do this.
Yeah.
And I did it in my sunroom with, you know, my mom, my dad, my older sister. They're all talking like crazy.
Mhm.
And I'm just staring at the wall, at that little point on the wall. They thought I was crazy, but
Mhm.
it helps. It
Yep.
does help.
Yep.
I've been doing it a lot. Other things I do is any kind of form of meditation. So my spring season, if I had any big tournaments, I would set aside goals that I'd really want. I would do the rosary. That was my form of meditation
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah.
lock in and, you know, kind of like pray of, you know, what I want my goals to be for this tournament.
Did you watch the episode we had with Spencer Broad on meditation?
I've not, no.
Yeah, it's one of, what do you think, Richie? Maybe one of the first 10 or so. He actually does consultations for corporations and
Yeah.
whatnot, and he went into this whole thing with meditation because he said most people stop meditating
Mhm.
because they think they're bad at it.
Yeah.
Right, and like we discovered that there's many different forms of meditation. So
Mhm.
what you're doing is a form of meditation.
Meditation.
Where I thought like I had to light incense and sit Indian style and go and like, I you know, it ain't me. So
Yeah. No, but I think that's a really big part. A different factor of, you know, going from high school, you're playing 9 holes and that's it.
Mhm.
Going to college, you're playing 18 holes competitively at a higher level. We had some tournaments that we were traveling, you know, 5 hours on a bus.
Yeah.
You're already super nervous. You
You're
get
preaching
there.
to the choir, baby.
Erie, PA, where we had 4 rounds. The first day was 32 degrees and pouring rain. You're
Mhm.
soaking wet. 6+ hour round. So you're just waiting around. So I think
Mhm.
that's very
Mhm.
important to, you have to stay in the moment.
Yep.
Because a lot of people, what they do is that, you know, they have a certain kind of number or score they want for a hole,
Yep.
and that does not help you,
No.
like at all. You have to think about the next shot and the next shot.
Yep.
Like stay in that moment.
Stay in the present.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
6-hour round that will definitely teach you patience, focus, and mental toughness.
I know you and I love hearing this story because, like, what we do for a living is we
Yeah.
teach golf, and like, I get it probably, I don't know, a couple times a month. Oh, you're in golf, man. I'd love to have your job, and 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 I know like what happened to you. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had
You get it.
literally hundreds of days where I remember the one conference, actually the one conference championship that was up in upstate New York. It was like 28 degrees, windy,
Yeah.
snowing, and like it was just starting to stick on the ground. And they don't cancel unless it's lightning.
Nope,
So
exactly.
it was 4.5, 5 hour round.
Yeah.
And I mean, like they were treating people for potential frostbite by the end of the round. It was just, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And no one ever says to me, "I want your job on that day."
No,
Yeah, right.
no.
No.
They think it's the sunny spring days.
Right. Oh yeah,
nice
we're going to
little
Hawaii
breeze.
this week. Yeah.
Spring
yeah.
golf is not that. I mean, the end of
No.
the day, it was. We were on the 18th hole. It started hailing when we were
Yes,
in Erie,
yeah,
PA.
yeah.
The next day, it was 65 and sunny. Like there's
Well,
no in between with
I
that.
always remember this, just a funny story. I remember in high school we were playing Riverwinds, and
Oh,
Riverwinds is
called
called
winds.
Riverwinds.
Yeah,
because
my
it's
coach
on
would
the
always say
river.
that. Yeah.
It's on the river and it
Mhm.
gets very windy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I remember we played. It wasn't even a match. It was what's it called?
Practice.
Yeah, it was like a
Scramble?
practice match.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like we played against another
Scrimmage.
team, but it's scrimmage.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't think of the word. I'm not the smartest, but
No, don't
we were
say
playing
that.
a
we'll
scrimmage.
talk slower.
We were playing a scrimmage, and there was this one kid on the team that was really good
Yeah.
on the other team, and I was looking forward to playing against him. I beat him.
Of course you did.
By the end of the round, though, it was so cold. I was kind of like used to it. Not
Yeah.
used to it, but it was really cold. It started like slightly snowing. It was super windy. The kid was like almost in tears
Yeah.
Really?
getting done the round.
Yeah.
I actually kind of felt bad because I was just like, I feel you, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
It
but
was
that gets back to
brutal.
that Jack Nicklaus story, which is I love the Jack Nicklaus story with the weather. So he was, I guess, it was at the British Open, and just like what happened with that Penn State team like 15 years ago, Nicklaus was walking across the tee line, and he hears golfer after golfer bitching. Oh,
Yeah.
it's cold, it's freezing. And every time he walked by one of these guys, like, I got that guy beat, I got that guy beat,
Yep.
I got that beat.
Yep.
So I was at the drive, chip, and putt championship yesterday, and Adrian and Christian are two regional qualifiers. Didn't make it to the next round, but a hell of an effort. They really did well. And I was talking to Christian before the event. He said, "Well, last year the rain threw me off." And I said, "Well, did it not rain on everybody?"
Yeah.
It's like it's the same for everybody. I mean, if rather than looking at something as "woe is me, I always get a crappy day," it's a crappy day for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. So
And that's the mental toughness of that. You need
Yes.
to know, hey, I'm a mutter. I'm gonna beat these kids.
Yeah.
That's what my dad's always preached that to me. But
Mhm.
you're a mutter. In those
Mhm.
kind of conditions, that's where you thrive. Where other kids are gonna complain of, oh, it's windy. My ball's not gonna go as far. It's
Mhm.
too cold. My hands. And that's
Yeah.
when you're like, okay, you're already ahead of the
You got that
competition
guy
if you
beat.
have that
Yeah.
strong mental
Yeah.
toughness there.
Yeah.
I love those days.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
those.
And
That's
they're the
it.
days that it's a challenge. It's not easy. Conditions are great, but
Yeah.
you're really fighting out there. That's the fun of it.
and I didn't write this on to the but on Laura's stuff that I'm reading. He talks about it, and it's something that I, as far as I remember, I initially was my saying is you want attention and intention to every rep that you do.
Mhm.
So I'm reading Laura's book, and he's talking about practicing and how the greats practice like they're going to play, and that's one of the things that I always bitched about with the some of the Rutgers guys back in the day was, they would hit ridiculous shots during practice, and I'm like, if you look at Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and those guys were always early for practice, and they treated practice like it was a game, and that's the way they're saying that you should approach your mental training.
Yeah.
Is try to make everything, and he has this whole matrix. Basically it has a level of engagement and excitement, and bottom line it says that you should have positive energy and enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now that's obvious, but when he puts it into a matrix, because sometimes like you'll have negative energy, but it's he calls it the ideal performance state, basically is what he calls it. So yeah, I mean at the end of the day, whatever situation you're in, try to love it and embrace it, because
Yeah.
you can't change it.
No,
Mhm.
you got to make do. And it's funny that you talk about having intention when you're practicing.
Yeah.
And I think your mentorship with Richie. I mean, you said that you were really nailing it into your guys. Richie did that last week with me. You know, he saw me practicing, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "If you have the intent of practicing, every single rep needs to be your pre-shot routine. You can't just go to the driving range. Look, he knows.
Just when you were
he's
thinking
good.
of firing me.
Yeah. And you know,
No.
I really took that into consideration. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's difficult. I have to step back, you know, 6 to
There-
8 feet every time. But then the rest of that practice,
I don't know,
Richie's
60
having
by
a
the way,
lesson in the
60
stall,
feet,
right?
that's
Yeah. And every single shot I hit, you know, I looked back, found my target, and I did my pre-shot routine because you have
Attention
to
and intention.
practice how you're gonna play.
And we've said this on the podcast before, but like, you could teach JoJo the chimpanzee to hit golf balls, right?
Yeah.
But he ain't practicing.
Yeah.
Okay? I tell people this all the time. Like, it's like one of my mantras nowadays is like, you know, I never want you to hit another golf ball for the rest of your life. And everybody looks at me like, what do you mean by that? You want me to quit?
Yeah.
Maybe some, but no. But I say, you know, I don't want you to hit more golf balls. I want you to practice.
Yeah.
There's a discernible difference between practicing and hitting golf balls.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
now that
Yeah.
you say that, I actually say that in my lessons. I always talk about how, like, whenever I talk the first lesson, I always do like a 15 to 20 minute, like, this is how I want you to practice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And one of the things I say in there is I put a golf ball on the mat and I step there and I'm about to hit and I go, yeah, me hitting this golf ball is not actually practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, me hitting the golf ball itself
Yeah.
is not the practice. And then what I'll do is I'll whack like 3 back to back to back.
Yeah.
And I'll look at them and I'll go, did I just practice?
Mhm.
And every single time they go, no. And I go, then why do you do that?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And you see all the guys at Big Swing, right?
Yep.
There's hitting a ball, and it's like, if you want to get better at golf, I mean, you have to take it serious, you know?
I
And
call it the pull and whack method.
yeah.
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 Well,
And just
you know
keep
Luke
going.
Canino. You know Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when Luke first started taking lessons, like, I couldn't slow him down. Like, in an hour-long lesson, he would start to go into a second large bucket. I'm like, it's like now
Yeah.
he just won the Carl Arena, which I don't know
Yeah.
if you know that.
No,
yet.
I did, yeah.
So he now hits like less than a medium bucket per lesson. And I had a new kid yesterday, or relatively new, I think it's his 5th lesson.
Hmm.
His name's Ethan. And the same thing, ball after ball after ball. And I said, did you watch the Open Championship? And he said, well, some of it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, at the end they handed out, you know, Xander Schauffele got the award. And I said, did shortly thereafter, did they call up the next guy and say, and the Open champion for hitting the ball the fastest this year goes to? No,
Yep.
that doesn't
Not-
happen.
yeah.
Yeah, so he laughed, and it's like everybody laughs, but like the attention and intention in every rep. So the president thing, I'm dying to know what. So how did
So
you get
Who's the
into?
34th president?
Well, Washington, Adams, Justin, Madison, Monroe, Adams, Jackson, Barron, Harrison, Tyler, Pope, Taylor, Fillmore, Pierce. But anyway,
I was telling a story before you do. I was telling a
You're
story the
good.
other day. John Tyler. Did I ever tell you this story? Okay, President John Tyler, which is crazy. So, I don't know, 10 plus years ago, we had a timeshare in Williamsburg National Golf Course, Nicholas Design, and we were driving home and they had some of the former presidents' mansions, and we did tours. So we did a tour of the one mansion, and we got done, and we're driving out, and there's a guy playing tennis on the tennis court in front of the mansion, and we're like, who's playing? Like, who's allowed to play tennis on this? Yeah, it's the president's grandson. And I'm like, wait, John Tyler's grandson?
Yeah.
Like, think about that for a second. This guy's president before Lincoln,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so just a little obscure fact for anybody who's watching out there. Check it, fact
History
check it.
buffs,
It's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I throw something random out there too?
Sure, why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
So I was in church the other day and someone came up to me and asked me, how do you sing the alphabet? And I sing the alphabet.
Okay.
All right, and then he goes, listen to this. And he plays a video. You know they're trying to change how you sing the alphabet?
No.
No.
Why?
Boy.
They have to
It's-
change everything nowadays.
You guys gotta listen to it. It's mind-blowingly like,
Why?
what just happened?
Yeah.
You know, you almost get like stumped for a second. And like the lady who did it, she even added like a in there and like pause for a second. I'm like, wait, where'd the pause come from?
Yeah.
Like last time I checked, like they're getting rid of LMNOP. Like, you know how you say
Listen, I
LMNOP?
get tricked up
Yeah.
with that sometimes, so I mean.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're doing
Yeah.
it for you.
No, but that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Um,
very. I challenge you. I'll play.
We'll,
it
we'll
after
look
you.
at it later, but
Yeah.
let me just finish
Sorry,
this.
sorry,
It's
sorry,
okay.
sorry.
So John Tyler's, yeah, I think there were 2 twin grandsons or whatever, or they're close to. They were still alive. Now think about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, and I got the numbers a little bit wrong on this, but Tyler fathered his last child right around age 90, right? And then
What?
that kid fathered his last child right around age 90, right? So Not only were they still alive, but they were like in their 60s.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, oh yeah, my grandfather was president? Oh, you're thinking like if it's older, I don't know, Kennedy,
Yeah.
maybe Eisenhower.
Yeah.
No, Tyler.
No,
yeah, it's
that's
great.
way
Yeah,
younger
I know,
years.
I know. Anyway,
The
off topic,
way
good.
the way I got into it, it was actually our last tournament of the season. So we have 4 fantastic upperclassmen, really skilled golfers, and we had 4 freshmen who came in this year. 1 being me, and at championships, only 5 go, and I was I had the opportunity. I was grateful, lucky enough to be that 5th person to go.
Skilled enough.
Skilled enough. But, that was a lot of pressure at, being a freshman. You really have to trust your abilities. And I remember, our practice around there, I got jitters
Yeah, of course.
going through my
Everyone
arms.
does. It's natural.
The swing thoughts of everything. So that was definitely a day where I'm like, okay, you really, focus.
Yeah.
And it's a running joke on my team that I'll say the president's really, really fast. And they're like, Anu, they're like, we were on this par 3, and they're like, just say the presidents in your head, or if you need to, out loud. I mean, your competitors are going to think you're crazy, but if that helps you,
It's helpful.
if that helps you to, slow your backswing and, not think about everything that you have to do in your swing, if that helps you, do it.
Yeah.
So if I am ever, shaking over a ball with the nerves and, have too many thoughts in my head, I'm like, okay, relax. The presidents. It's the craziest thing, but that's... I've been doing it now, and it works. It works.
Let me tell you
Whatever
what.
works.
I think Laura would like you because so I got the 5 strategies that he uses for concentration during competitive play. He said first, and there's a whole thing, and there's a couple Harvard studies in there, and we can go over it later, separately. It'll take forever to do, but he talks about to first check your own energy level.
Yeah.
And there's this whole thing that the Harvard guy who's been doing for years is the relaxation thing that he teaches is to tense different muscles in your body and then relax them to learn when, because sometimes when you're in the heat of battle, you're not aware that you're tense, right?
Yeah.
So by tensing muscles in groups and patterns, you can then feel like when you're out there, oh, you know what, my shoulders are tense or my hands are tense. So he said first thing is to take an account of your energy level, where you at, okay? And then 2, calm down. Do whatever it takes to try to calm down, right? Which makes sense, right? Because once they call the peak performance state is when you are like excited, but engaged, having fun, okay? It's almost like the zone, okay? 3, stay in the present. And Bob Rotella, we talk about this all the time.
Yep,
Dr. Bob. Everybody read this book because staying in the present. Nothing that happened 8 seconds ago or 8 seconds from now matters, right? You just want to stay in the present. That's all you can control is yourself.
Yeah.
And then actively focus your attention on the target. And this helps produce something called passive concentration, which makes things more effortless, makes things more automatic when you focus that way. And then the last thing, which I've been doing on my own, which I was sitting there, actually I was reading on the plane because I was on vacation last week, and I talked about this. I always keep the TV and stuff in the background, or I'm somebody who needs background noise.
Me too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it helps.
Always does. But what I've found is, right, either silence or some background noise that doesn't grab my attention is infinitely better. Like a soothing music or silence. Like last night while I was working on some stuff for work, they had ping pong or table tennis on the Olympics, which interests me not at all, but it was healthy for me because it was in the background. You like table tennis?
I love ping pong.
Yeah.
I know I like ping pong. I don't like watching on TV. It's like watching Forrest Gump.
I love it, but that's so fast. You can't even see the ball going back and forth.
I got.
That's my.
I'm a
was
big
actually
fan. I'm big.
thinking of trying to play professional ping pong.
You seem like you would try to.
Yeah,
play
Forrest.
Professional.
Run, Forrest, run.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just
Are you a
saying.
pickleball person?
No, but I want to play pickleball.
Me too.
Pickleball.
Yeah.
I
Pickleball?
wanna play pickleball.
Pickleball. I have not played pickleball although.
That's our next. That's our next event that we're gonna do.
Okay. All right. We'll go. All right.
Good.
So, and the last thing is to keep your eyes controlled during play, and that's again what I was laughing at was, if something else is bothering me, but I'm staring at whatever I'm staring at, my focus starts to go to that point, and he did a whole thing on this, but there's a very close connection between visual and mental focus. It's like if I stare at this microphone, I'm like, oh, it's Giants blue, right? or Knicks blue, or almost Yankees blue. But anyway,
Boo.
boo. No. Just ignore Richie on that one. But
Boo.
yeah. So anyway, quote number 2 for the day: flow results in the narrowing of attention when the past and the future clearly are abandoned, and the now is all that matters. So, all right, kids, how do we stay in the now?
You want to tackle this first?
I gotta be honest. I got distracted this time.
Yeah,
All right, and the reason I got distracted
because West.
was because you mentioned the blue microphone
Oh, the Giants won last night.
and what?
They put the Lions in preseason.
Oh, congratulations
Thanks.
Great-
for
great
winning
job.
a preseason game.
Hey man,
One-
I gotta take my victories where I get them, bro.
That'll be the last. Yeah, that'll be
I
the
gotta
last
take
one
my
for a
victories
couple
where I get them,
months.
kids. Jeez, gosh, kick a guy. Go on.
No, the reason I got distracted is because I put the blue one in the middle for symmetry, and you switched it
Well,
around.
he
on
wanted
me.
the Giants
wanted
blue.
the
I
blue
didn't want the
microphone.
Giants blue.
Yes, I know.
I was
Why
not-
so blue?
I was feeling
Anyway.
it.
Why so blue?
Why so blue?
What was the question?
Yes. Yes. How do you stay in the present, Richard?
Yeah.
How do I stay in the present?
Mhm.
Well, like if I'm playing in a golf tournament, I just think about the next shot that I'm gonna hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm focused on the next shot, and you know, I might not even like after I hit, say my first tee shot, I'm not already focused on my next shot. I actually, you know, I let my eyes wander a little bit. Like I know how it says here, keep your eyes controlled during play.
Mhm.
I do let my eyes wander, but not just like randomly wander.
Yeah.
Like I let them wander around the golf course because sometimes you can pick up on different points on the golf course and you know what's going on around you and the wind and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I focus on stuff like that as I'm walking towards my next shot.
Mhm.
And then as I get close, I focus pretty much specifically on what I'm gonna try and do on the shot.
Mhm.
You know, what's the goal?
Mhm.
You know, I'm trying to set myself up for my next shot. Usually I already have a game plan for that, so I'm not focused on the next shot.
Yeah.
I just know where I want to leave myself, what shot I have to hit, you know, and I'm really focused on the shot in the current moment.
I love it because like so again the book I'm reading right now, Lore talks about this. So they say the time actively involved hitting the ball in tennis is about 25% of the time.
Wow.
Okay, but in golf, the actual time hitting the golf ball in a round of golf is about 1% of the time.
Yeah.
So you know you're right. In between shots, like you know, you're probably going to be working on relaxation techniques and breathing and walking and like Hogan years ago. Hogan was so far ahead of the game. He would only drink ginger ale in the moments of tournaments. He'd get there extra early. He'd walk slower. He'd breathe slower, and he did that all on his own. And like all the studies subsequently completely support that. But yeah, so in between shots, probably just relax. But once you
Yeah.
get to that moment, the present, because it's only
Yep.
1% of the
Yep.
time you're out
Yep.
there, that's when you focus. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So Unicorn, how do you stay in the present?
So how do I stay in the present? I think the biggest thing, and I have to give all of everything that I say on here is to my current coach, Scott Vandergriff. We call him Pro.
Okay.
That's his nickname, but he has helped me so much with staying in the present.
Mhm.
So like during our championship, I love telling this story, but it's a waiting game. You have someone in front of you, someone behind you, all these groups, and he could tell again, I'm nervous. This is my first championship. It's our last round. I want to put up a good number. And, he said to me, he's like, Annabelle, he's like, when you're ready, he's like, pick up your club and hit that shot, and really just visualizing everything. My biggest thing is breathing, visualizing how you're going to hit that shot, really thinking about where it's going in the air, and then feeling the swing and committing to it. Committing to your swing, I feel like, is the biggest thing that people don't do.
Yep.
But yeah, staying in the moment, taking it just step by step. Because there's been cases in where I'm like, okay, I just hit my green and reg, one putt for birdie. Nope. Yeah, I'm probably three putting. Like, you really
Yes.
have to, okay,
Yeah.
that was a great shot. Now let's see what we're going to do for our next shot. But staying in that focus. And I kind of want to touch point on your number 5 of keeping your eyes controlled during play. I know you like to wander. But my assistant coach, she was saying how the mind and the body is so connected.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at that water and you're like, oh, there's the water. I'm focusing on that water.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, your ball's probably going to go in that water because your body wants to go there.
Yep.
Or, having that positive self-talk of, don't go OB, don't go OB.
Yeah,
Your
so-
mind doesn't know the word don't.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when you're saying
Yeah.
don't go OB, your mind is thinking OB. OB, OB, OB.
Well, that's it.
So we have
talk
to
about
say,
that,
you
yeah,
know, center of the fairway.
Uh-huh.
But that's the biggest thing of staying focused. I really need to have that positive mindset of this is where I want to go, that tunnel vision, not looking out to the water, to the sand, to the bunkers, all that kind of stuff.
So
Yeah.
when I say my eyes wander, just to clarify.
No, I
on that
know,
one,
I know.
Yeah, it's, you know, I'm not just like, oh, look, a bird. Like, I remember when I
Well,
played football, this was the
it-
funniest thing. This is a funny story.
Okay.
I was
yeah.
playing football. I was in a football camp. And this is my first year ever playing. And I was in, like, the wide receiver part of the camp. And I remember our coach, he was teaching us. And then he just, out of nowhere, goes, that's a red-tailed hawk, guys. Do you
Yeah.
see that? And everyone's like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, that's a red-tailed hawk. And he starts telling us all these different facts about red-tailed hawks, and then goes, I birdwatch on the side. And we're like, everyone's just sitting there like, wait, what in the
What?
world just
Yeah.
happened? But like, I don't just go, oh, look, a bird.
Yeah.
You know, oh, look, this. Oh,
It's
look, there's the
intentional.
water jug.
Yep.
You know, I'm looking at it going, okay, you know, I'm looking at the tree lines going, okay, I can see the wind blowing on the tree there, but not over there. That tree is higher. That's why I can probably see it over there.
Yeah.
You know, I can see, okay, you know, the whole golf course looks like this from a big viewpoint.
Yeah.
So chances are the whole golf course is going to run
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. You know, and I'm looking at stuff like that going, okay, you know, what can I pick up from this golf course while I'm walking up to the golf ball?
Yeah.
You know, there's been times where too, you know, I might count like changes of wind in my head.
Wow.
So like, you know, you get like gusts of wind. Sometimes you can start to like count that out. So you'll get a gust and you'll give it like a, you know, a 10-15 count as you're walking to your golf ball, and then you get another gust of wind, and then you do it again and you get a 13 count and you get another gust of wind, then you get a 14 count and you're like, okay, so every gust is going to come between 14 or 13 and 15.
Yeah.
So you get a gust of wind, you go, okay, you know, if you're standing back behind your ball, I'm like, okay, because I just did all of that while I was walking to my golf ball, now I can go, okay, now I have some, you know, I got
Yeah.
15 seconds.
So yeah.
Well, once I get the gust of wind, I'm like,
Yeah.
So
Go.
you're now the walking billboard for not all that wander are lost.
Yeah.
yes.
There But yeah, I think really breathing helps me on the golf course.
Everything does. That's what Mickelson. He won his last PGA
yeah,
Championship.
yeah.
What, I guess 2 years ago now, or maybe 3. But they asked him, "What was your swing thought for the?" He's I was just working on breathing.
No, yeah.
That's
And
it.
it's the tempo for me, walking up to my ball, my pre-shot routine, that tempo, that consistency, that pace is really important to me. And something that our coach preaches a lot is your body language. So if you're walking to your ball, you know, your head is held high, your chin is up, your shoulders are back. Like,
I'm surprised we've never discussed this because this is
Yeah.
stuff we discuss all the time. The
Yeah.
superhero pose and the Harvard studies. Yeah.
if I'm waiting,
Yeah.
my hands are on my hip like
Yeah.
this near my bag, and
Yeah.
I feel more
It
confident
releases
and
a
powerful.
chemical in your brain.
Yep,
It
yeah.
does.
And every
yeah.
single shot, if I'm waiting, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Superhero pose. Yep, absolutely. That's. I always say that to the guys, and my Rutgers guys are watching. By the way, did you get the email last night? By the way.
I'll have to take a look.
Okay, yeah, we got a good recruiting class this year, so we're heading back up in
go.
a good direction. But
You
yeah,
had a great assistant coach this year too.
yeah,
Coming
we
in.
got
Just saying.
we got him back anyway. So
Oh, jeez.
we had to let him go because of COVID, but
Going
we brought him back.
downhill.
So anyway, yeah, no, the I guess the thing, I'm surprised we don't talk more about this. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's stuff that we talk about all the
So
time.
important, yeah.
If I can tell how you're playing from 100 yards away,
Yep.
then that's not a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when my coach is recruiting, when he's looking out and seeing those players,
Mhm.
he's thinking, okay, so what kid has their chin up, you know,
Yeah.
and they're not slugging down
Yeah.
and, you know, throwing their clubs. Like when he recruits, yes, he's looking at your ability of playing golf, but he's looking at your character. He's looking at
Yep.
how do you manage your emotions on the golf course.
Yep.
Because he wants those kind of kids who
Yep.
you can't tell, you know.
I-
And that's
I-
not good for your competitors
I-
either,
no,
to know
I-
you're struggling, because that gets in
yes.
their heads.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
you that
Right?
1000%
Yeah.
correct. That if you portray like, we're going to talk about this in a different episode because we can go on forever. But when the self-deprecating guy, right, or it's truly it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
When you start to say, oh, I'm normally much better than this, and and like when people hear you say that, like no, like it shows, it's basically you trying to self-soothe.
That gives me the one up on them now.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take that little disadvantage to them. I'm
Yeah,
using that for my gain.
exactly.
And
Mhm.
going into my freshman year, my dad would always send me little text. And, other people who really wanted to see me grow in my game of golf, they would send me texts. But my dad, when I would go out, he's like, you have everything to gain,
Mm.
but nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest thing for
Yeah.
freshman year, is that I'm going to play my best,
Yeah.
no expectations, let's see what I can do.
Yeah.
But really playing that way of, you got to take the pressure off of yourself sometimes. And the game of golf, it's a little bit different because you're always putting pressure on yourself. You want a certain number, a certain score. But yeah, that was a huge thing for my freshman year of having that good mental attitude and just really locking in
So
on the
did those
moments.
other 4 players graduate then?
So we just had our captain. She phenomenal player. We loved her. Best captain I've ever had.
Mhm.
So she just graduated. So those 4 upperclassmen, 3 of them were juniors.
Okay.
So they're going to be seniors this year.
Okay.
So after this year, it's definitely going to be a really big rebuilding process. The 4 freshmen that came in, we're all a really great collective group of girls.
Oh, good.
Really, every single one of us really strong work ethic. So I think it's going to be good. It's going to be sad to see those upperclassmen leave
Of
because
course.
they're fantastic players.
Well,
But
I always say that
Yeah.
because I've been coaching for a long, long time, over
Yeah.
30 years now. They just when you get them right where you want them, the bastards
Yep.
graduate on you.
Yeah. It's like, come on, what's
Yeah.
happening? But I think there's going to be a really, really bright future ahead of us. Our championship, we came in 3rd out of, I want to say 10, 11 teams. Supposed to come in 2nd, but a girl eagled on the last hole. So that really hurt us. But, I'm really, really excited for my team. And I know I made the fantastic choice of my college.
Good.
I love it there.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. All right. Well, you know what? We got to have you back because, like, we could go on forever.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so much stuff in my head right now. Like what you talked about, the water. SCA, Sports Enhancement Associates, which we were affiliated with for a while. A guy named Chuck Hogan, sports psychologist. Yeah. It's like the example I always use with Richie. I said, hey, Annabelle, there's an alligator behind you, but don't focus on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't think about a pink elephant.
Yeah.
I'm visualizing a pink elephant right now, but it's the don't. Your mind does not know that. So you
Right.
have to think about the positives. Where do you want that ball to land?
Yeah.
On the green. Not in the bunker, on the green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just accept where you are and do the best you can do from that spot.
Yeah.
Engage, focus, breathe. Yeah. But this is good stuff, guys.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
We should do this more often. But anyway, so with that said, if you like what we're doing, by all means, subscribe. And then we have our online store for the South Jersey Golf Schools
Wow.
and the Breakfast Ball. So
There you go.
if you want to go on there, I know actually people are ordering stuff now, which is great. Actually, I want to give you a coffee mug before you leave.
Sweet.
Let's go.
Bring it to college.
I know, right? Let's go. Let's
Caffeine
go.
addict.
All right.
Use
So
it every week when you watch the episodes.
Sipping on my coffee.
Yep.
Watching
I
podcasts.
love it. Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Let's go.
Do my Sunday morning routine.
Monday morning.
Tear
Just
it up.
Monday morning.
Anyway.
Well, I'll wait a week.
With that said, I am your host. Before we go any further, if you get anything out of this podcast, we get 10%.
When you're rich and famous.
Very good.
Yes.
So Annabelle will get 10%. But I'm your host, Bob Cardia. To my left, to your far right,
The dashing Richie Stoltz.
and making her Breakfast Ball debut, the Unicorn.
Great to be here.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. Hopefully, be
See-
invited back.
No,
But
you'll
I love this.
you'll be definitely invited back.
I've
Definitely
been wanting to
invited
do
back.
this, so
Yeah.
happy.
You know what? We've had a lot of competitive. We've had like Q, who's won 7 club championships, and Zach in mid-finals of U.S. Amateur, and
Yeah.
Pierce has won tournaments, and then Coleman's won tournaments. I really liked what you brought to the table today in terms of
Thank you.
So if you notice, if you took the top 10 best instructors according to Golf Magazine, whatever that means, but none of those guys were ever in the top 10 of players.
Yeah.
And again, in Laura's book, the greatest players don't always understand how they get stuff done. So people that can articulate their strategies effectively are rare, and you do that well, because like Ted Williams, the baseball player, used to say you could see the stitches of the balls that are coming. Well, they did medical tests on that. It's impossible to do. That was his visual on how to do it. But he was telling people that's what he was doing, and people are like, I can't see the stitches on the ball. I suck. He meant well telling people that, but like he probably caused more people to quit baseball than to continue to play.
Yeah.
Anyway, God bless you guys. We will see you next week. If you like, please subscribe, guys, because we're trying to get up to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We've got like 150,000 views and however 100 subscribers, but we're pushing 400, I guess. I don't know.
Getting there.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Awesome.
Anyway, guys, God bless you. See you next week.
Glass of bourbon hard. My bourbon hard. My bourbon hard. Alcohol. Because no great story ever started with, I'll have sex.